Hey everyone, my name is Wonhan, and I will be representing my team, the Takodachis, to present to you the game we made, Plug-in Baby. Together with me are my teammates Hazri and Matthew. Plug-in Baby is a precision platformer where the connections you make in the game enable life. You play as a baby robot navigating through an abandoned space station in search for a special connection that is later revealed in the game to be a mother robot. The main objective of the game is to get to the endpoint of every level. That is represented by an exit door, and this door would lead to the next part of the space station, bringing you to the next level. In order to move, you need to be connected to a power source. So doing so allows you to move in all four directions. However, being connected is also a limitation in our game. Your range of motion when connected is limited to the length of your power cord. So for you to progress through the level, you will have to disconnect and float to the next power socket, reconnect to regain control. You have to repeat this process several times until you arrive at the endpoint. I will now share our plans on expanding our game in the future. So firstly, our game's narrative design. For the main story, we intend to use a comic-like shots at the beginning and at the end of the game in order to progress the narrative forward. We also have a macro narrative to enrich the theme of connection. We wish to bring the space station into the picture as well, so the connections that you make along the way slowly brings the space station to life, rekindling her sense of purpose. Throughout the game, embedded narrative will be employed to drive this macro narrative. An example would be, as the player progresses through the game environment would see progressive, subtle changes, such as becoming more lit, more vibrant, and more alive in general. Essentially, the main takeaway that we would like the players to have after playing our game is this: all connections, regardless with who or what, brings life and brings purpose to our lives. Without any form of connection to anything, our lives would feel meaningless and void. Okay, so due to time constraints during the game jam, we had to turn our game into a precision platformer instead of the intended puzzle platformer that we had in mind. Though we were satisfied with our final product, we also feel that continuing to develop a precision platformer would essentially lead to a large disconnect between game design and narrative. So for that reason, we decided it would be good that we could rework the existing mechanics. So the game design would be reworked in the expansion. So first of all, we would need to rework the level design to be more forgiving and less focused on being precise. This would emphasize more on the puzzle solving aspects of our game. Okay, we also intend to have other appliances as sub-mechanics. For example, having the player to drag power plugs around other appliances such as wind tunnels in order to activate them, and having these appliances to have an effect on the game. In this case, the wind would affect the player movement. Okay, additionally, we would look into the possibility of integrating the usage of the power cable beyond just restricting the player's movement. So potentially we could get the players to move objects and platforms using the slack of the rope by pulling objects and platforms around. Okay, and lastly, we intend to have more levels for the game, at least 10 levels or an hour's worth of gameplay. So with some mechanics and multi-purposing of the main mechanic, we could provide the player with enough layers of interaction for an engaging, optimal difficulty progression. For our plans on marketing the game, we are targeting players who enjoy casual puzzle games, games with light-hearted narratives. Some of the games that we're influenced by are games like Hue, Limbo, and Love You to Bits. The main appeal of these games is despite the use of novel mechanics and interesting visuals, the puzzle of these games are fairly manageable, so the gameplay does not get in the way of the narrative and at times even helps to drive it forward. So lastly, due to the nature of the control of the game, Our target platform will be PC and consoles such as Switch and PS4. Although the mobile version could reach a wider audience, we would have to rework the controls to better fit the mobile player experience, such as the use of swipes and taps instead of on-screen joystick. Alright, so thanks for watching and I hope you give our game a try.